into the last section of today. It's who West Ham and Spurs should buy. We've got 5 picks and who we should sell. So, do you want me to start with it, Bill?
Yeah, you can go first.
All right, so we're being realistic with these picks. I've not got a set amount of money. Obviously, it's players that I think we can get and who we want. Obviously, I don't know how much clubs that have got these players are going to want for them, but it's who I think realistically we should go for. Firstly, I would sell Yarmolenko straight off the back. I would release him on a free. If no one wants to buy him, just get him out of the club. Felipe Anderson, he's going to be coming back on loan. I don't think Moyes likes him anyway. He doesn't fit what Moyes wants. And we've got a lot better wingers at the minute that do a better job. So I'd sell him. He'll probably get at least 15 to 20 million. So that would boost up the transfer budget. And then I'd sell Diop. Get him out of the club. You know, at the end of the day, he's making mistakes left, right, and centre. Maybe he'll be good in the future. Maybe he will, right? But he's not good at the minute. He's cost us too many. I wouldn't say he's cost us points, but he's cost us too many goals that has led to us losing the game or drawing the game or, you know, the confidence being shot. Because Dawson was performing great against with Ogbonna next to him. As soon as Diop's there with him, he goes to pot. Same as yesterday with the goal where Everton scored. Diop vacated the space. There's so much space in between. Dawson didn't read what Diop was going to do, so he played Calvert-Lewin onside. There's your 1-0 goal. And it's just shocking. It's absolute shocking. Other than that, I can't really think of anyone else that I'd sell. I would have had Lanzini on there, but he's just started to perform all right the last couple of weeks. So he's another player that we could keep around. But here's the buying ones. Now, I don't know if we're going to have a player on our lists the same, but I'll start off with one that I think is a must. We have to sign this guy. He's similar pace-wise as Antonio. I think he'll get him behind so much. He scored so many goals in the Championship this season. And no, I'm not talking about Ivan Toney. I'm talking about Adam Armstrong from Blackburn. I think he's a West Ham player. He fits the mould of what we need at the minute. Mate, he's banging in goals in the Championship. Whenever you see Blackburn scoring, it's near enough always him. I think he would be literally amazing at West Ham. I think he's exactly what we need. We're crying out for a player just like him because when you need Antonio to come off, he's got the pace as well. He can run in behind. He's a great finisher. So yeah, Adam Armstrong, he's a must. He's a must. If we don't buy him, then for me, we're going to lose out because we'll just buy some stupid striker again, probably like Olivier Giroud or something, and then we're back to square one. I've put Jesse Lingard on here because I think we should sign him. Do I think it's realistic enough? It all depends where we finish. If we get Champions League football, yeah, I think we'll get him. Europa League, it's 50-50. We finish out of Europe, we've got no chance of getting him. But I want to get him, but it's one of them things. The next two on the list are both from Brighton.
Okay.
First one is Basuma.
Good player.
I want him because you've seen this season when Souček and Rice have been tired or, you know, they're having off games or they're not available, we're lacking. Now, for me, if you've got Rice, Basuma and Souček in that midfield and you have Basuma and Rice sitting and Souček frees him up so much just to make them runs in the box, it gives him more freedom. And for me, he's a top draw player and there's going to be big clubs after him. And if we get into Europe, we can take advantage of that and bring someone of his quality in because we're not going to be able to get him normally. But if we get Europe, we could bring him in because he'd want to. All right, Brighton, yeah, you might like being by the seaside and everything. But if you're going to West Ham, London, football, you know, football club tradition, whatever, and Europe, all right, yeah, I'll go there. And we could take advantage of it. And that's what I'm hoping. The second player from Brighton is Ben Wyatt. Ben Wyatt, for me, is going to be an amazing defender when he finally, you know, after a few more years, hits that full potential. I think he's going to be amazing. And I think we need him in defence. He's that cool, calm, collected player. Him alongside Ogbonna, for me, makes our defence stronger. And that's why I think we should sign him. Once again, do I think we can get him? Probably not. But the fact that we can get Europe could sway him to come. And for me, it'd be an amazing signing. But I have to wait and see. Now, the fifth one, It's realistic if we get Europe, but it's an ambitious one. Now, the player I want to get is Andre Silva,
Okay.
Portuguese striker.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah. So he's someone that I would love to have at West Ham. He's scoring goals like mad in Germany at the minute. And personally, once again, we need two strikers in the summer because Antonio's not even a striker. But the fact that he gets injured so much, we can't have him and another striker. We need to bring in two strikers. If I could have either Silva or Armstrong, I'd take Armstrong, just because he's done it in the Championship, which I feel we can do it in the Prem. Silva would have to adjust, and it'd be like a Haller situation again, where if he doesn't adjust, it's a waste of money because he's gonna cost about 30, 40 million. Whereas Armstrong, I think we could get for like 15, 20 mil if we, go to Blackburn all nicely and button them up.
Yep.
But yeah, mate, if West Ham signed Armstrong, Lingard, Basuma, and Ben White in the summer, and we're in top Champions League or Europa League, I'll be fucking happy. I'll be over the moon, mate, over the moon, because I just think they take us to the next level and they add depth, because then Dawson can come in and be a defender when we need him. I mean, even if you don't sell Diop, then you've got Diop as a second option. That was the fourth player I was going to sell, Balbrina, the centre-back. That was the fourth one I would have sold. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned earlier on that I would have brought in that Johnston from West Brom as a goalkeeper, but I think we need to strengthen them areas more than the goalkeeper at the minute. If we've got like crazy money available, which won't happen because it's West Ham, then I'll bring him in as well, Johnston as well, or even Nick Pope. Tess Burnley's resolved with him. I mean, he'll be a good signing for West Ham, but I'm saying all this, but I know what's going to happen. We'll do the same thing we did last time we was in Europe. We'll buy all these stupid players that won't fit the Premier League, like the Zazas and the Tours and freaking what was that? What was the other guy's name? The Algerian guy. Fuck.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. He was awful.
Yeah, but he does bits in Europe. But he comes to the Premier and he was figure. I can't forget his name, but yeah. But they're my picks, mate. What do you think of them?
Yeah, there's some interesting ones on there. Adam Armstrong wasn't one I expected. I mean, he's done really well for Blackburn, hasn't he? Let's be honest. Could he do it in the Premier League? Maybe. He's a bit short in terms of size, but yeah, maybe he could do it. I mean, you never know. He could do. Yeah, Basuma's a good shout, I think, as well in central midfield. Andre Silva's one that is an interesting one. He's got more goals in the Bundesliga than Haaland. And again, yeah, I mean, there's some really good shouts on there. Some of them were really unexpected. I think the one that really threw me was the first one, which was Adam Armstrong. I was like, no, didn't think of that one. That was a really good shout. And to be fair, that's probably a realistic signing, if we're honest. That's
that's what I'm saying. That's why I went slightly realistic, because a Championship striker, West Ham would go for him. His club's still in the Championship next year. He ain't going to got a chance being promoted like Ivan Toney has. Mm-hmm. So I thought, yeah, Adam Armstrong, I've been watching him for like the last couple of years and thinking he's got potential, mate. And the fact that you said he's short, yeah, but he's got the pace. He's like Vardy. You can get him behind, and that's what we need to start doing.
Yep.
Like you could even play him and Antonio together. Antonio comes short, he goes in behind. Mate, it's what we need. And I think the Armstrong lad is the sort of player that if we get Europe, defences in Europe wouldn't want to play against him at all.
Yeah, he's tricky. He's tricky.
It is what it is, and I don't know. We'll see what happens. I just thought it's a signing that West Ham, possibly could make without breaking the bank, because our owners are tight, and it's convenient they're tight because one of them owns a freaking Ann Summers.
Fair enough. All right. So for me, I've gone kind of almost realistic, but kind of there's a few dream ones in there as well.
Right. You can't have Ronaldinho, Kaká, Rivaldo. What?
There's no icon cards in this game. Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, I think for me, I'll start with who I want to sell, and it's a big list. I think we've got to get rid of players like Lloris. We've got to get rid of Alderweireld. We've got to get rid of Davison Sanchez. We've got to get rid of Sissoko, Højbjerg. Lo Celso, Lamela. Who else can go? Serge Aurier, Ben Davis.
See, I won't get rid of.
That's most of
I
the
won't
team.
get rid of. I won't get rid of Ben Davis or who's the other one you said that I disagree with? Sanchez, because I think Davis is a sort of player that gives you at least 6 to 7 rating a week. Like he gives you everything he's got. He might not be the best, but he gives you everything you've got, and he fights, mate. That's the difference with him compared to, Aurier or whatever. He won't lose his head. And Sanchez, he's still young, mate. I think he's got potential of being a top draw centre back, but he's still young. And when you've got to think, you've got Mourinho barking all these orders at him. Got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, you got to do that, and then you've got, as you said, a defender next to him who's meant to be the experienced one, but is not doing it either.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be hard for a young lad. So I would keep Sanchez if I was you. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I would keep Sanchez and Davis. I would sell Luis because you'd still get a few bob for him, whereas you need to change the area up goalkeeper-wise, in my opinion. But yeah, otherwise,
sure.
You're not selling Kane? I thought you wanted Kane out.
Yeah, he's another one like I would sell, and I think he will go this summer. So yeah, add him to the list too. And I think that would give us a massive transfer key, and it would be a big rebuilding job.
So I've heard today Man United are going to table a £90 million bid for Harry Kane.
I'll take it,
mate. I think you can get more than 90 mil, but Daniel Levy's not going to take 90 mil anyway.
No, he won't. He'll want 120, 130. Something. He'll want crazy numbers, and he might get them. So good luck to him. Hopefully they do get that kind of money. But for me, I think because I've sold half the team, I think I'm going to add a 6th person in as well because we're a bit light in terms of numbers. So I think I'm going to address the Lloris one. So for me, sell Hugo Lloris, get rid of him. He has off games. He's been good for us. Can't lie. He's a World Cup winning goalkeeper, but he's had the best of his days. For me, I'd bring in the Zagreb keeper, Lajkovic. Tall. Okay. He's still young as a goalkeeper. Don't think we have to pay too much money for him. He's going to be Croatia's number 1 for a long time. He's got a bright future ahead of him. And I think that's the type of signing that realistically we could do for something like 12, 15 million, go a bit under the radar.
Yeah, he knocked you out, didn't he? So
yeah, he's a good goalkeeper. He's a really good goalkeeper. He's a lot of promise. And then centre-back wise, I'd like the Sevilla centre-back, Koundé.
Yeah.
Solid player. Had a good season with Sevilla. They're challenging for the league title. He's been a big difference for them over the past couple of years. So I think he would fit in really well. He's got a lot of pace, strong, reads the game well.
That's what I mean. That sort of player that I can't put on my list because West Ham are never going to sign that sort of player unless it's on like a loan. We're never going to get that quality of player. So yeah, but Tottenham, based off of where you've been the last few years, you could pull that off. But it depends on the manager. But that's a good shout.
Yeah, Koundé, and then sort of a bit more of an unrealistic one is Pau Torres, the Villarreal centre back. A little bit unrealistic.
I don't think that's unrealistic. I don't think it's unrealistic. If you don't get European football, it won't happen. But I don't think it's unrealistic if you do get European football. But again, it depends on who you bring in. If you bring in freaking Unai Emery, then you're definitely going to get him.
We don't want an Arsenal reject manager. We've had a Chelsea one. We don't want an Arsenal one. No, definitely not that. And I think, why not? Pau Torres is a solid centre back. It's been, Villarreal is probably their best player. He's a rock at the back. They've got to the Europa League final. So yeah, him and Koundé would be 2 good centre backs that I think are achievable for us because we need a revamp at the back. And continuing that revamp, I'm going to go for a new right back as well. I'm going to go for Denzel Dumfries, PSV.
Okay, I was worried you were going to say Soufal then.
No, you won't sell him. I think realistically, again, PSV are not going to want a lot of money for Denzel Dumfries, maybe 20 million max.
He's a good shot, Dumfries.
It's a good right back. It's got a lot of pace, good going forward, good coming back. We might take him a couple of seasons to adjust to the Premier League, but again, there's another quality player that I think we can get quite cheaply too.
Mm-hmm.
And then sort of revamping the front three. I think for me, we've said Kane's gone, so I want to go for a bit more pace up front. I think that's the way the Premier League works now. So I'm going to go for a striker that plays for Salzburg. I'm going to go for Patson Daka. Raw talent, has lots of pace. He's one of the future.
I knew that was coming. One of your favourite players, yeah.
Yeah, he is, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. Like, he's still very young. Technically, he's got a lot to learn, but I think,
Beats Liverpool though.
yeah, maybe. But the thing is, he reminds me a lot of like a young Eto. So he's got a lot of strength, a lot of pace.
That's a big comparison.
It is. It's a huge one. It's a huge one. But I think if he goes to the right club, he could develop the right way.
Yeah.
And I think he would play at Tottenham if Kane isn't playing. Because if you had
but
him,
I don't trust him to develop there though, because Tottenham don't develop players that well. I mean, you could say Harry Kane, but how many loans did Harry Kane have?
he did.
And even when Kane was coming through, it was only the fans that made it happen, because the manager at the time, I think might have even been Poch, didn't want to play Kane, and they kept playing him in Europa League, and he kept banging in goals, and then they had to play him in the league. But I get why you've picked him. I can see him at Tottenham, but I see him more at a team like Liverpool. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, he fits that pace like narrative, and like my other two picks are going to fit that narrative too. So for me, I'd have Harvey Barnes from Leicester. Slightly a little bit more unrealistic, depending on who finishes where, and they'd want a big fee for him and whatever else. But if we had him out on the right, Patson Daka up front, and Son on the left, that's a lot of pace. You've got a lot of quality there. That would hurt a lot of teams, and getting in behind is a big thing now. And I just think that front three would dominate. Like, it'd be.
Don't Harvey Barnes play on the left though?
He does, but he can play on the right. Son can play on the right.
He takes away from his game though. He cuts in his right foot. I think maybe if you play, I think Son playing up front is the way forward for Tottenham. If you sell Kane, I think Son needs to be your striker, because he times his runs so well, and then that Daka guy can be in and around the team kind of thing. But no, I think all your picks so far have been a good shout. So let's see your extra pick that you shouldn't be having, but we'll let you out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I sold all of our midfield players, haven't I? So we do need a central midfield player. And everyone's going to expect me to pick someone like Grealish. I'm not going for Grealish. I'm going to go for Nabil Fekir.
Right, okay. Real Betis.
Yeah. From Real Betis, ex-Lyon player. He's more of a creative forward player. So he's more of a 10 that we don't have. He's kind of like almost like a Christian Eriksen. I don't think he's as good as Christian Eriksen, but he offers the same sort of things. And I think that's what we're missing. We're missing someone who's got a little bit more creativity about them, can see a pass, has good technical abilities. And I don't think he'll stay at Real Betis for too long. I mean, they're not doing much, are they? So, and we probably get him for quite cheap. I know he's had injury problems in the past because, he was going to go to Arsenal or Liverpool a few seasons ago and they didn't sign him because he's had injury problems. But I think he could be a player that's realistic for us, and he offers something that we don't have.
Yeah, I mean, I think all 6 of your picks, I think, are great shouts. I mean, the last one, I think if you're gonna go for a sort of player like that, you want to go for the Leon lad. Is it Awar? Awar. I think he's a better player, and he's younger as well. So I think it's all about nowadays. If you want to do it, is bringing these players in young and bringing them on, because the potential. Because obviously our clubs, Tottenham more bigger, obviously, but you look at it, we're not going to keep players. So if we're going to bring these young lads in, we need to bring them in early, so then we can get as much money for them eventually when they move on to like the big elite clubs. And if that Daka, for example, I can see him being at Tottenham and then joining a Liverpool or a Bayern Munich or someone. So that's a good shout, because you're bringing him in for like 20, 25 mil, and then probably selling for like 60, 70 mil, because he's got the potential. Same as if you bought in Awa, or whatever his name is, but yeah. I don't know. I think your picks are yeah, your picks are pretty good. I think your last sort of picks you made were a bit like, you started off good. You're building up, and then you went in. I think that Fekir guy. I think there's a reason why Liverpool didn't sign him, mate. There's a reason why, and it's got to be to do with his injury. It's got to be something that's pretty bad, and that's why he's staying at Betis. Why has he not gone somewhere else by now? He's a good player, but why has he not got somewhere else? There's got to be a reason.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, maybe he's got like really dodgy knees or something, or like some sort of heart defect, or
maybe. I mean, you look at one of the best players that's ever played in the Premier League, and I might surprise a few people when I say this, but one of the best players that's ever played in the Premier League, led the King.
Mm-hmm.
He He was amazing. I don't care that he played for Tottenham. He was amazing, but his dodgy knee stopped him. He couldn't train all week, and he used to play the game. So, like, Tottenham wouldn't have signed Ledley King if they knew that. And that's the thing. Same with this Bakiri guy. You're not going to sign him.
Maybe he won't pass the medical, but I think, to be honest with you, we need that type of player. And I know you mentioned the Leon kid, but to be honest with you, I can see why people rate him. Like, he's got a lot of, you know, good attributes and whatever else. But for me, I don't see him as achievable for Tottenham. I think he'll go to a bigger club. He'll end up at like Man United or Man City or someone. And then,
yeah, I mean, to be fair though, Arsenal are still trying to get him. So if Arsenal are in for him, Tottenham can get him.
Yeah, but Arsenal say they're buying everyone. I remember when they tried to buy Luis Suarez and offered like 40 million £1. Like, you know, Arsenal are a joke club.
They wouldn't offer the £1. That was the problem.
Yeah, and Arsenal are a joke club. I mean, who are they going to sign next year? Like, they bought Thomas Partey. Like, come on, like,
mate. I think talking about big summers is a big summer for Arsenal. I was watching some stuff yesterday, and they were saying on there that Arteta's staying, and they're going to give him loads of money to spend in the summer. But then, who's going to go to Arsenal when they're not in Europe?
That's it. And the thing is, like, players now are fickle, so they won't go to your club if you're not in Europe. So even a big club like Arsenal, and they are a big club, like, it hurts me to say it, but they still are a big club given the money that they've got, the facilities they got, the stadium, the history, and all that kind of stuff. But if they're not in Europe, players are like, well, I want to play at least in the Europa League. Like, then with the promise of we're going to get to the Champions League in the next season or two, otherwise I'm going. And I think for Arsenal, the worst thing they did was sell Ozil. Like, I know he didn't fit their system. He's a bit lazy, but on his day, like, you've seen it. They've had no creativity this season. Nothing.
I disagree with you, mate. I disagree with you. Ozil was done. He was done. And the worst thing about it was he had this beef with the board off. The board didn't want him playing. They basically said to Arteta, and you know they did, he's not playing in his team anymore.
They wanted him out. The board wanted him gone because he was on too much money and he was sitting at home playing Fortnite and getting bad backs and stuff and couldn't train and whatever else. But the type of player that he was, if they could have kept him fit and playing, he could have fired them into Europe this season, like, just with his creativity alone.
But as the saying goes, if my auntie had a dick, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. And I mean, I'm glad they sold him and they are where they are, which is brilliant, isn't it? You know, they're on decline. And they've got to be fair, they've got a few good young players that they could drag Arsenal through, like Saka and Smith Rowe. I don't rate Martinelli.
I don't. I think Saka, yeah. Smith Rowe, I've not seen enough of him yet. He's not done enough. Saka, you just look what he did in that game yesterday. It was him single-handedly won that game for him. But,
yeah, he's quality. Like, as much as it hurts me to say, he is a quality player. Smith Rowe is a decent player. Don't think he's the same sort of level as Saka or the same potential.
But then that's what I mean. Like, you always compare. Like, you compare your team to other teams, and whose players would you take? There's not many teams in the league that I'd pick over my players. Like, I look at, obviously, Liverpool. I'd pick certain players. Obviously, Man City. Obviously, Man United. Chelsea, there's a few players that I would take, like Kante and stuff like that. I ain't gonna list them all. But like, when you get to like Tottenham and Arsenal, there's not many that I would take, mate, over the players that we have in our team.
I wouldn't take any Arsenal players for Tottenham. None of them, not one.
I'll take Saka.
I wouldn't even have him.
No, I'll take Saka and probably Odegaard.
Yeah, maybe, but he's on loan from Real Madrid, and I don't think he'll stay at Arsenal because, you know, they're not going to get European football. So
that's it. Yeah, I mean that's the biggest thing for Arsenal. They need to sign Odegaard, but you know, Arsenal, they let Odegaard go back and they get Danny Ceballos again.
Yeah. Let Arsenal make all these dodgy signings. Let them go and buy, like, I don't know, someone from West Brom, like Mateus Pereira or someone, and like big him up on Arsenal fan TV.
He'll do good on there. He'll do good for Arsenal.
No, he won't. He won't. Arsenal, like, they rave on about they've got Edu as this like transfer guru, but he's not a transfer guru. You look at the players that he's bought in: Thomas Partey, that Gabriel.
Players.
Yeah, but Gabriel is awful.
Martinelli's all right.
I don't rate him. I've never rated him. I think they bought him from
Tottenham bias coming through. Tottenham bias coming through, everyone.
No, it's not. I just don't think he's up to that. I don't think he's up to it, if I'm honest. I haven't seen that much of him, but
That's it. You've not seen much of him. You can't make comments when you've not seen much of players. Like I could sit and say, "Well, I watch a lot of football. I watch every game. I don't just watch Tottenham like you most of the time, Billy." But yeah,
Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, if our clubs can make those signings, for Tottenham, if we get those signings, that's like a dream come true, and we'll finish in the top 4. But I'll be honest with you, if we get one of them,
here's what it is. It all depends. If you sell Kane, then
yeah.
I mean,
but the thing is, the people that we got in charge, I don't trust them with the money.
same here. This is what I'm saying. I don't trust our board to give Moyes enough money to bring the sort of players that I've suggested. Now, I've not suggested crazy, ambitious ones. I've gone the best of the rest of the Premier League. Like the Armstrong from Championship, Basuma, Ben White, like these sort of players. You could go to Brighton and say, "Here's 50 million for both of them."
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
They might reject it, but West Ham won't do that. It'll be, "Oh, we'll offer you 15 million for Basuma, but we'll pay you £5 up front." £5. We'll pay you £5.
I know what you mean.
We'll pay £5, West Ham. We give you £5 up front, and then we'll give you 10 with like in installments here. And then if he gets 50 goals in a season, we'll give you another 20 million. And then that's what they do all the time. Like the amount of times we've had players lined up, and then they've been like, "Oh yeah, it's because we didn't offer this or we didn't offer that." And I'm just like, "Oh, West Ham, fuck off. I can't deal with it." And that's why we still need to get rid of our board. But everyone seems to forget because we've had this great season and forgot about the board. And this is what David Sullivan and Moyes and Gold have loved about this season. It's basically took away all of the negativity that was around.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know if it's the board's fault half the time. To be honest with you, I think most of the time it's the scouting team, the transfer team. Whether West Ham that they do that.
Sullivan gets involved too much, mate. Sullivan's the one that makes these signings. Like he backed off and give Pellegrini. He brought in a director of football with Pellegrini, and he gave him all the chance to make the signings, and he signed all these shit players. Yeah.
I mean, how can these, to be honest with you, I'm not saying I'm any sort of football expert or anything, but how can you make these crap signings? It's obvious I know sometimes clubs won't do deals for the players that you want, and in real life it's a little bit more difficult than it is.
Do you know the worst player West Ham ever signed? Oh, he's got to be up there, especially in my generation, is that fucking Roberto guy that was in goal for us. And he fucking balls and mate, honestly, I don't know how they signed him. And then we couldn't sell him. And then we put him on loan to Alvarez or wherever it is, and then we let him leave on the free. But it's just like, honestly, wow, it is what it is, mate. But yeah, I just hope that we can get at least 3 of them. I would be happy with Armstrong, Lingard, and Basuma. Then again, I want Wyatt as well. I want Ben Wyatt. I'll be happy if we got Armstrong, Basuma, and White. Because Lingard, for me, I think he's unrealistic. I think someone like Roma will come in for him, and he's not going to come to West Ham over Roma or something like that, because he'll be in Champions League football, and I just don't think we're going to get that. Unless we can finish 5th and get it, because I think we can finish 5th. So
fair dues.
Yeah, is what it is. But yeah, thanks for this, Bill. Been another great podcast. Enjoyed having another chat with you with some of your delusional comments about Tottenham as per usual. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. And we'll be back again in a few days for another one. Probably building up again the following weekend games. Maybe recap what's going to happen this week, because obviously we've got a few games that's happened midweek, haven't we? Potentially Fulham could be relegated tonight. If Man United drop points against Leicester and Liverpool, Man City win the league. So there's a lot of things that could happen we could talk about, but we'll see what happens on that one, I guess. But yeah, guys, so I hope you all have enjoyed the podcast today. We had some technical issues, so we didn't release a podcast on the weekend, but that will be back to normal for this week. We'll be doing 2 of them. We're having a special podcast coming up soon, right? Isn't that, Bill? What was it we're going to talk about?
Yeah, we're going to do a throwback Thursday, and we're going to talk about a legend from the Premier League era. We're going to start with our own teams. We're each going to pick one legend that we're going to pick to talk about. So the first one we're going to do is a West Ham one. And yeah, we'll let we'll let you pick whoever you want to talk about. Could be anyone.
Give me some comments down below. Give me some comments on our socials who I should pick for West Ham. I mean, I already know I'm going to pick, but if you could sway my mind, guys, if you pick some comments, you put some good West Ham legends down below. It won't be Bobby Moore. I'm just going to say that right now, simply because Bobby Moore was around before I was, and I didn't see much of him live. So it has to be players that I've seen live and watched live. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. But
yeah, so Premier League era players from like, you know, late 90s up till now. Yeah. So we're going to go with Enner Valencia.
I mean, he's a shout. He's a shout. I mean, to be honest, mate, you've got Dimitri Payet. You've got Colton Cole.
Yeah,
he's a shout. You've got Paolo Di Canio, Paolo Warnchop, Joe Cole, Frank Lampard. Sorry, West Ham fans, I shouldn't have said that one. Yeah, you've got all these different players, mate. But I think I know what I'm going to go for. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that's it. That'll be a podcast maybe down the line in a couple of weeks. Maybe we'll see what happens. We're also going to do a podcast in a few weeks about the England team, who makes our 26-man squad and the starting lineup. So we've got some interesting content coming soon, guys. So keep posted, keep watching, and keep listening. And yeah, follow us on all our socials. We're on every social media site there is, apart from Twitter. We don't like Twitter. So other than that, we're on everything else. And yeah, guys, for now, it's a goodbye from me, a goodbye from Billy, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.